The Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs was a strategic ministry of necessity to fast-track developments in the Niger Delta region. The Minister of State for Niger Delta Affairs gives us an insight. What is the scope and policy thrust of the Niger Delta Development Master Plan?
The master plan for the Niger Delta is tailored towards improving the Niger Delta holistically, from education to agriculture to management of the oil resources to ensuring that funds available for development are felt by the people of the Niger Delta, to ensure that hospitals are built for the people, to ensure that their means of livelihood, fishing in particular, is promoted, and to ensure that the Niger Delta, being the citadel of the oil-rich nation we call Nigeria, also benefits as much as possible from the resources that are found on the ground of the Niger Delta, and to ensure that Niger Delta takes its place not only among the states of Nigeria, but among the community of nations in the world as a whole.
A major challenge of this ministry is the enormous environmental degradation and pollution, and this is caused by hydrocarbon activities, for example, gas flaring, crude oil exportation, and of course oil spillage. What have been the practical solutions of this ministry to address these challenges?
Well, we want to thank Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, for ensuring that the Ogoni water and sea pollution is being addressed vigorously. All over the world, wherever there are hydrocarbon activities, there is likely to be pollution occurring from time to time. But the most important thing is, what do we have on ground to tackle this type of menace that goes with oil exploration? I think that is where the Niger Delta Master Plan will play a very strategic role. What we are doing as of today is like a fire brigade type of approach, to things like this. But when the master plan is well in place, there will be what we will call thinking ahead of the problem and how to tackle and ensure, if possible, erase this menace called pollution and degradation of the atmosphere and the ground of the Niger Delta. Niger Deltans don't have the ability to produce as much fish as they used to do in the past, because the pollution that is occurring all the time had almost killed all the fish. You now have to go deeper into the sea to be able to fish, to feed the people. But by the time all this is addressed, I think this will reduce. And like I said, we would like to thank President Muhammadu Buhari for at least trying as much as possible during this regime to ensure that what we met on ground, the pollution that was there, is being cleared.
But we've heard about sabotage, even by the people themselves, sabotaging oil plant. Can you give us update, really? There was a recent one in some of the oil communities, and how have you been able to address them?
I've always told my people that we're our enemies, we're the enemies of ourselves. Because if you know that something is injurious to your body and you continue to take that either food or drug or drink, then you are gradually killing yourself. You are not killing the doctor that is saying don't do it. You are not killing your neighbor that is watching you do this to yourself. I think our people should have a rethink. We don't have to bastardize the pipelines, to be able to make money and so on and so forth. It is not even that alone that people do. I could remember a few weeks ago, I asked my PA to contact our people. In those days, there is a factory that was to be put there. And we asked them, please contact the leadership of our people. Let them give us the site where this factory could be emplaced. The answer we got is that we should go and buy land. I was saying, why is this thing not being taken to my village, where the Oba of my town will call his chiefs and say, please give us the land where it is choice area for this plant to be put, because it's for the development of the people.
But have you been able to sanction saboteurs? will you get?
It is difficult because it is only the military. You know, the federal government has put the military, the army, the navy, and so on and so forth to ensure that this sabotaging is reduced. So government has hired local people to ensure that they work with our military to ensure that this sabotaging is reduced to the barest minimum, if not completely wiped out. But it depends on the attitude of our people. You can remember that in those good old days when people were being killed, were being shot at the Babish for stealing, for drug peddling, people were still carrying drugs. People were still, doing armed robbery. So it is the attitude of the people that really matters.
Recently, the Rivers State governor had to dole out some millions of naira to local government chairmen to identify illegal refineries. I know this also falls within the purview of the NNPC, but as a ministry being in charge, taking care of welfare of the people in the area, is there anywhere the ministry has also been able to make some frantic efforts to address illegal refineries, because these same illegal refineries are also polluting the environment?
If the governor of Rivers State decides to assist, those ministries and agencies, very fine, because there must be this synergy between state governments and the federal government to address the ills of the society.
Now, Honourable Minister, let's look at the challenges of the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. We want you to help us to catalog specifically the major giant strides of this ministry under the President Muhammadu Buhari government.
The biggest challenge we have faced since I became minister here is lack of funds. When this ministry was created and when the Naira was really strong, this ministry started with a budget of 100 billion Naira. And over the years, it has come down to the level that in year 2020, the total budget of this ministry was less than 20 billion Naira. And what can you do with 20 billion Naira in 9 states? And at the same time, the East-West Road, came back to the ministry, and there was no money to run it. A project that will cost close to half a trillion Naira, given to a ministry that has a budget of less than 20 billion Naira. And you will realize that most of the time there was agitation from the people who are the users of the roads, the Ogoni people, the Niger Delta youths, protesting all the time. Although we wanted to ensure that completion of the road was fast-tracked, but the contractors will not work without money. So the main constraint of this ministry is lack of funds. Other areas can be managed. In fact, that is why the ministry was created, to solve problems of the Niger Delta. So if there were problems and there was enough funds, of course, efforts would be made to resolve such problems.
Despite these challenges, we just want to know, what are those significant achievements this ministry has been able to achieve?
Over 150 kilometers of road had been tarred, have been paved. We also know that skill acquisition centers that we met, not completed, under completion, and so on and so forth, and those completed, we are also ensuring that they are put into use. By the time contracts were awarded for these skill acquisition centers, they were not really made as skill acquisition centers. A skill acquisition center where you will have a stadium, where you will have a swimming pool, where you will have hostels, and so on. That's not a skill acquisition center. So what we have decided to do is that those ones that are completed are given to communities, to states, to polytechnics, to universities, to use as campuses, so that the money that had been expended on this type of assets will not just be in waste. Also, the housing estates that were constructed by this ministry are now being given to stakeholders free of charge. Before, money was being charged, although very small amount of money, but when President Muhammadu Buhari came, he said the houses belong to them. They should be given the houses free of charge, and that is what we are doing now. We are also ensuring that all this degradation that we had mentioned earlier on, we are cooperating with the ministry in charge of ensuring that all these degradation are put into check. Also cooperating with the Ministry of Petroleum Resources to ensure that our people have what belongs to them. This ministry is even coordinating, is trying to coordinate now to ensure that the 3% that was asked to be given to the communities from the PIA are given to them. We are going to organize sensitization programs to make those people ready and be able to ask for their rights when the time comes. Because if you don't, the major oil companies are very fond of ensuring that they don't pay what is due from them. But we will make the people to realize that it is their right and that they should ask for it and also use it, whatever comes to them properly.